Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Profitable Mindset Podcast.
Welcome to the Profitable Mindset, a show dedicated to teaching you the skills you need to build a profitable product-based business that makes you feel free and fully in control. Here is your host, Charlotte Smith.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to episode 10 of the Profitable Mindset Podcast, How to Price Your Products for Profit, Part 2. And I'm going to continue in this three-part series in order to get your pricing where it needs to be for you to have that profitable farm. So if you remember, part 1 was all about how to determine what price you should be charging. And that's based on your actual production costs and figuring in a margin for you versus what I see most farmers doing to price their products. And that is they'll kind of look around to see what others in the area are charging, or maybe they'll ask on Facebook, and then they'll just randomly choose a price that might be a little lower than the neighbors in order to attract customers. But then what happens is at the end of the season, if this is the way you're doing your pricing, or at the end of the year, they wonder why they're losing so much money. So this three-part series is going to help you because it will have some actual strategy to your pricing based on your production costs, which means you're no longer just randomly grabbing a price from thin air that really doesn't match up to what you're doing on your farm. So if you haven't listened to episode 9 yet, the one before this, be sure to listen to that episode. That way you will know exactly what you need to be charging. You will want to get the spreadsheets to determine what your prices should be. And those are all linked up for you at 3cowmarketing.com/price for profit if you didn't get them last time. All right. So how are you doing this summer? I really hope you're having a little fun during these warm summer months, like going and jumping in the river like we can do or something. I've heard from a few of you that it's a lot of 18 to 20 hour days. So I hope you're getting a little break. I just had a little fun. I got back yesterday from Lexington, Kentucky. I've been able to go there 3 times in the last 12 months just because of various speaking gigs and workshops I was doing. This time was just as fun. I don't know if you know this, but Lexington is the horse capital of the world. So whenever I go, I get my fill of all things horses. I mean, it's truly like Disneyland for horse lovers. And while we were there, my family got to have dinner with one of my farmer friends, Kenya Abraham and her family. They farm just like a 10-minute drive from downtown Lexington. She's also one of my students in Farm Marketing from the Heart. So they had us to dinner, and the day before, it was such a huge honor, her husband, Eddie, slaughtered a lamb, and he made the best lamb dish I've ever had in my life. Even my 12-year-old, who was nervous because she's never had lamb before, loved it. So just a big shout out to thank you, Kenya, and your family. I'm so grateful. We had the best time. All right, now let's dive back into episode 10, How to Price for Profit, Part 2. And like I said, in Part 1, I talked all about how to determine the price you need to be charging. But the reason we have to go on and have a Part 2 and a Part 3 is that it's very likely that the price you should be charging could be significantly higher than what you're currently charging. It might even be double or triple. And you probably know that you can't just double or triple your prices overnight. You'll shock a lot of customers and lose them. So there's some things that you want to take care of to get set up for that price increase. That's what Part 2 and 3 are going to cover. All right. I've referred to this next fact before, that the biggest factor in a farmer's success at a lot of things, including raising your prices, is your mindset. So you can produce the very best farm products in the world, but if your mindset is not supportive of what you need to be doing in your business to be profitable, you're going to struggle. So we always start with the mindset needed. And it doesn't matter what I'm teaching, if it's marketing or social media or how to deal with a difficult customer, your ability to be successful at any of this starts with your mindset, because your mindset determines your outcomes. So there is this mindset secret in business and marketing. I know I've referred to it before. I want to share it with you again, and it's going to change the way you think about your products forever. So this mindset secret is how all successful business people think of the products or services they sell. And that secret is that you're not selling meat or milk or eggs or flowers, but instead you're selling the value that people get from using your products. And that value is not what you, the farmer, thinks it is, but it's your job to find out what that value is. It's your job, and I will help you to find out what the value is that your customers are getting when they use your products. So as you know, people can buy our products anywhere today. They can get grass-fed beef and pretty much any other artisan, homegrown product delivered straight to their door. And of course, you and I know it's probably not the same as a local farm-raised product that we're producing, but the average consumer doesn't know the difference when they click on Amazon to order. They just think, oh, this is really convenient. Look at this. I can get farm fresh meat on Amazon. So I don't think of that. So since they can get these products with just a click of their phone, people who do drive out to your farm and who do spend the time to find you at a farmer's market booth aren't doing it just for the fun of it. The reason they're going out of their way to do this when they could get it more conveniently is they're searching for a solution to a problem or a struggle that they have in life, or they're searching for a way to reach a goal they have, and they have found out that you can help them. So the important thing is that you're going to learn what problems people are solving with your products or what goals they're using your products to reach. When you learn this secret, what people are using your products for, and you learn how to communicate the solution you're selling, then your pricing of your products becomes so easy. It becomes a no-brainer for you to charge for this value that they're getting. They aren't buying from you because you have the best grass-fed beef in the world or because you move your chickens to fresh pasture more often than the next guy or gal. It has nothing to do with your farming practices. Instead, it's the value they receive because you've become the solution to their problem and you've communicated that to them. So, like I said, I'm going to help you with that this episode and the next one too. And I will teach you how to find out what it is, what that value is that you offer, and also how to communicate it. So I'm going to start by giving you an example of a friend of mine. He's also one of my colleagues, Nick Burton from Texas. Nick started out selling a vegetable CSA, and it was doing fine. He was busy, he was making money, but he always noticed each year that some people would drop off and not resubscribe. He became curious, wondering why, because they all said they loved the vegetables. And I think he even delivered almost to their door. So it was pretty convenient. And he wondered why, if they loved their vegetables and they were convenient, why weren't they resubscribing? So he started asking them. More importantly, he started listening to them and wondering and just being fascinated by what it was they had to say. He was asking them things like, how could I be different? Or how could I serve you better? And he started hearing things such as, well, we love your vegetables. They're really high quality. They're the best we've ever had. But really, at the end of the day, I still have a box full of vegetables that I have to cut up, and I'm just not taking the time to cut them up, and they're going to waste. So it doesn't make sense to resubscribe. So he listened, and he didn't judge. He didn't shame them for not wanting to cut up vegetables. I mean, we've all been there. Even I buy bagged pre-cut lettuce sometimes, and we have a huge garden because I need the convenience in the moment. But Nick listened, and he followed up with a question that's so important. He asked them, well, then what's your dream about fresh vegetables? What would you love? What's your dream solution? And what they said was, what they would really love is for a salad to just appear at their desk at work every day without them having to go through the effort of cutting it up, so they would stop eating lunch out of the vending machine. That was the problem they needed to solve. So he realized when he listened to them that without a ton of effort and without a ton of money, he could put in a very tiny kitchen. I think he said it was about 10 by 14 feet. And remember, he's not cooking anything in there. All he's doing is preparing salads. He's cutting up vegetables. He started this business where he delivered prepared salads to the refrigerators in the break rooms of several businesses in the small town where he lives. I think he said it was about 20,000 people. And that first year in business, he had $1 million in sales. He did this because he solved the exact problem that they were looking to solve. And he solved that by asking them questions and listening. And these women were willing to pay whatever he needed to charge for the salad because he was solving this big problem, okay? And when people have a problem they're looking for a solution for, they don't look at the price. It's one of the very last things they consider. So you can see there how Nick was helping them with their struggle. He was helping them reach their goal of eating better and not eating out of the vending machine, but without having to use their evenings to make their lunches because they already tried that and that wasn't working. He gave them exactly what they wanted. So all of a sudden, they aren't looking at the price at all because he helped them reach their goal of eating better and not eating out of the vending machine and not spending time cutting up a box of vegetables. So you're going to find that when you start practicing this too, you start practicing listening to what your customers are using your products for and then helping them reach their goals in life, you will find that price doesn't matter to them. And when you learn that you're solving their problems and you're not just selling them organic food or heritage breed, whatever, or so many of the things I see farmers think that they're selling, instead, you'll learn to listen to what people are saying about your products. All right, I'm going to give you another example. I spend time in my farm store listening to the words and the phrases that people use when they stop in to get their chickens. So I just made a list of all these words I'm going to share with you here. So in their conversations and just in sentences they use, here's what I hear. Things like detox, healthy fats, allergy-free, digestive problems, skin issues, inconvenient, fat bombs, quick, running, CrossFit, vaccines, intermittent fasting. I've got to get in shape. All right. I hear these words and phrases over and over again. So this is what my food, the chicken they buy from our farm, the products they buy from us, this is what it's helping them with. It's helping them detoxing. It's helping them live their lives the way they want to live life today. It's their food to break their intermittent fast that they've been reading up on and practicing. It's helping them run races. It's helping them not get injured. This is what they're telling me over and over again. So this is what my product is helping them to do. The products you and I sell on our farms, it's helping people in so many ways. And when you learn to listen and then repeat these things back to other potential customers, all of a sudden you've left the pricing game and you're no longer selling a commodity. You're selling a priceless solution to their struggles or their goals. And they're not coming to me saying things like, I found you because you're organic, or I found you because you move your chickens to fresh pasture every 12 hours instead of every 24 hours, or I found you because you feed a special GMO-free blend. They never talk about that. They don't talk about farming practices. They don't know enough to talk about those things. Instead, their conversations always revolve around this list of words I just read to you, the things that are going on in their life today. And so once I realized that, and then I realized why they're buying from me and that they aren't price shopping, this is so key in being confident enough to charge the price you need to charge. And it will be the same for you and your customers too. Okay, so when you learn to do this, when you learn that you're helping people solve their problems that they're spending their days trying to solve, and they will pay for the solutions to help them with that, you will become so much more confident. All right, so I want you to learn to listen to your customers. You can do what I did. You can just make a list of those words they talked about. you can just start with that one simple practice alone. And then ask yourself the following questions when you're pricing your products, because this is also going to help you get more confident. It's the one thing to figure out the price that you need to charge, and it might be 3 times what you're charging right now. But then another thing is you've also got to have the confidence to be able to charge that. So this exercise I have now will help you with that confidence. So a few questions you can ask. The first question ask yourself is, how big of a change does my product create in my customers' lives? Or another way to put it, how serious is the problem my customers are trying to solve by using my product? Now, you might think a woman who gets a fresh cut salad and now doesn't have to eat out of the vending machine. At first, you may not see that as a huge problem. But as a woman myself who's trying to eat healthy every day, and it's a struggle sometimes, that is huge. If Nick showed up in my office or even out on the farm with a fresh cut salad, that would totally solve my problem of trying to eat healthy in my busy days. These questions that I just had you ask make you realize that the problems you're solving for people are huge to them. And therefore, the value you offer is equally huge. And this awareness on your part that the value you offer is much bigger than anything you ever imagined will give you the confidence you need to charge a sustainable price. Also, I just want to quickly mention these questions are all written down in the Price for Profit spreadsheet course, so don't worry about writing them down here. They're written down there. You can just reference those. What's important here is that your prices must reflect this value that your customers are getting. And like I said, it's much more value than you ever thought up until now. It's not the value that you put on your products. It's the value your customers put on your products. Your prices must reflect that value. All right, so then I always have some farmers who say something like, well, what if I sell something that doesn't have much value? I've had farmers tell me that they think their flowers are just something extra that people don't really need, or they don't bring in much value. They don't solve a problem. So they can't figure out how to price enough for them. So if you think your product isn't offering as much value as someone else's product, that's feedback to you that it's time for you to talk to your customers. Trust me, they are getting all kinds of value from your flowers, for instance, that you may not have thought of yet. Okay, I have a great story about this. One of my favorite stories is about Lori Jo, a flower farmer in Michigan. And I'm going to give her a big shout out because I know she said she listens to the podcast while she's gardening in the morning. So she has a U-Pick flower farm. And when I first started working with her, she hadn't opened for business yet. She was getting ready to open the first season. And she was certain that people were going to come to her because of her organic farming practices and because her flowers were chemical free. So she thought she was offering an alternative that the local grocery store flowers didn't offer, and that these chemical-free flowers were what was going to draw people to her. So she opened that spring for business, and that first season, as she listened to her customers, she noticed that not one person ever asked if her farm was organic or chemical-free. Instead, she kept hearing them talk among themselves and talk with her about things like how fun it was to come out to the farm and pick a bouquet, or how it was so peaceful for them to be able to stop in and pick some flowers on their way home, or how they got to bring their kids out and the kids would pet the cat while mom picked a bouquet. She was just hearing these same sentences over and over of people connecting and feeling peaceful and finding a sense of calm in an otherwise really super busy life. So they were talking the whole time about the experience of visiting Lori Jo's garden and how it made them feel. And Lori Jo was noticing it had nothing to do with her farming practices. So now that she knows why people come to her farm, that it's for connection and peace and community, she knows that her flowers are priceless. She's offering something, and people are paying her for something that they cannot go buy anywhere. Where else can they go find a moment of peace? Maybe in yoga class, but that's a whole different thing, okay? Where can they go find a moment of peace? You cannot just go anywhere and buy a moment of peace, but her customers can. And this gives Lori Jo incredible confidence in charging a sustainable price so that she will be around for the long term, offering this value for her customers. And her price is higher, I think she said, than any other flower farmer in her area. She's watched many people start up and go out of business within a year or two at the most because they never get to this point of charging for the value that they're offering. So just with that example, do you see how your product can become priceless to them? I know I hear this from our customers about all our products we sell, and we don't even sell flowers. We sell other things, and they tell us our chickens are priceless to them, our eggs are priceless to them, and for 10 years we heard how priceless our raw milk was to them and our meat. So you might already have an idea of what your product does for your customers. Maybe some of them have already told you, or maybe you've already started to listen into them. So if you're unsure what value your products give your customers, it's time for you to talk to a customer and truly listen to them. I know too that from 10 years of farming, the things they tell you will change over the years. So seasons change and tastes that people have change, trends change. 5 years ago, everyone wanted crock pot recipes, and today they're talking about Instant Pot recipes. So you've got to know that this kind of listening and questioning your customers can never end. You never want to stop this practice of listening to your customers. And you're not listening to try to convince them to buy your products. Instead, you're listening like Nick Burton did and like Lori Jo did. You're listening to, why aren't you resubscribing to our CSA? Or what makes you want to drive all the way out to our farm and pick a bouquet of flowers? All right, now I've got some questions for you that will help you out in this process. And I want to use the flower example that I just talked about. So if you sell meat or vegetables or milk, you can just change the questions to fit what it is you sell, obviously, okay? But using this flower farm example, you're going to ask someone, what does buying our flowers do for you? And this, you just want to work it into casual conversation. Like if someone comes to your You Pick garden, or they're at your flower stand, or you're just cleaning up, you can say it so casually. Like, when you buy our flowers, what does that do for you? And practice asking the question out loud before you ever do it, before you ever ask them in person, so you don't feel awkward. Because when you ask the question this way, it elicits the most surprising and enlightening responses. So again, something like, when you buy our flowers, what does that do for you? And then just listen to them. They're going to tell you things that you didn't even imagine. You can say something next, like, when you buy from our farm, how does it make you feel? And again, just listen. Don't think you know what they're going to say, because they will surprise you. When you learn this is what's important to them, you can use it to connect with others that will also want your products. They hear you communicate your products according to their values, not yours, which is what makes them want to buy. All right? So you're going to hear these most surprising things. And here's another good question to ask. I love the way this one is worded. What does it mean to you to be able to come to our farm and buy our flowers, or raw milk or meat or eggs? All right, so ask these questions and really listen and make notes. And don't defend, don't explain, don't try to convince them that the reason they should be buying is because of all these extra special efforts you take in your farming practices. Because again, they don't know that. That doesn't matter to them. Just listen to them when you ask these questions. This is why people buy from you. And this is why they won't even care that your price might be $1 more or $5 more or $100 more than your neighbor or more, okay? They aren't worried about price because you're helping them with the things that are important to them in life. All right, so now that you know the value you offer to others, your next task or your homework here is to update a few things before raising your prices, okay? This is part of that 3-step process in raising your prices. You can't do it all at once. So first, I want you to go to your website. I want you to find all those places on your website where you talk about your farming practices and the reasons you think people should want to buy your products. Okay, this might be on your homepage or your products page. You might say something like, we're an organic farm. We rotate our cows in this way. We have this special heritage breed. You know, all those places that you're talking about you and your farming practices. I want you to replace that with what you do for people. Replace those farming practices with the value you provide. So all these things that people have just told you from those questions I just said, the things that your products do for them, you're going to insert them on your website instead of your farming practices. You will lead with those things. You'll say things like, when you visit our flower garden, you'll feel a sense of connection and peace in an otherwise busy day. Stop in this Friday at 3 o'clock and I can show you how. See how that statement shifts to talking to your dream customer about what she tells you your products do for her? Other people will land on your website and they will read that and they will think you read their mind and they're going to want some of that. They're going to want to come out and visit you and they're going to want those things you've promised to them on your website because that's what customers have told you you do for them. Okay, then the next thing you're going to change is you probably have some handouts or a farmer's market sign or brochures or maybe even your business cards, and you're going to update these items in the same way. You will lead with the value that your products give your customers based on what your customers have told you. And then the last thing I want you to update, your mindset. Okay, I know I talk about this a lot because it's the most important thing. Make sure your mindset is not something like, I'm selling chemical-free food, or I'm selling organic meat, or I'm selling products where the animal was rotated every day to fresh grass. Instead, I want you to update your mindset to something like, I'm selling a product that is transforming lives in such a huge way. Here's what people are telling me my products are doing for them. That's what I'm selling. I'm selling peace. I'm selling connection. I'm selling these amazing feelings of living the life you love. I'm selling stop eating lunch out of the vending machines. These are the things you're selling. And when you embrace that as your mindset, you'll have the confidence to charge the prices you need to charge because these things you're selling are priceless to the people buying them. And shifting your mindset will make all this easier to remember. And I've talked about this in the past. Your mindset, which are your thoughts and your beliefs, and beliefs are just thoughts that you think over and over again. These things set you up for success or failure. So it's really important you practice thoughts and beliefs that support your business. I've mentioned in other podcast episodes how I work on my mindset every single morning from 5 to 6 a.m. That's when I spend time managing my thoughts and practicing the thoughts that will support me in my life and business. And it's something that we all need to learn to manage our thoughts. We aren't taught this anywhere in school or anything. And if you don't manage your thoughts, I know that you know what I mean, that they just run crazy. We can get all kinds of insecurities and fear, and that's where anxiety comes from. And we focus on the lack we have in our lives, or the things we don't have, and it leads to stress. When you learn to manage your thoughts like I'm talking about here, you will build that successful, profitable farm. And once you learn to manage your thoughts, you'll finally be able to live that life you've only dreamed of. All right? A life where you're confident and you feel completely capable of handling anything that comes your way, whether it's on the farm or with a customer or anything in life. All right? It starts with your mindset. All right. And then there's another exercise I want to share with you. And this has been so valuable to my students. This is going to help you whenever you feel overwhelmed or unconfident about your prices, or maybe you're exhausted from farming. This often leads to feeling negative emotions. And you know that our thoughts create our feelings, and the feelings determine which actions we take. So that's why it's really important that you learn to manage your thoughts and create the feelings that will create productive actions. So that if you find yourself thinking you're overworked and too tired and exhausted, and I hear a lot of you guys saying this exercise will help you. I want you to ask yourself this one question to pull you out of it. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do to improve a customer's life today? Or I've said it before, what's one thing I can do to delight one of my customers today? When I ask myself that question, when I find myself spiraling downward in fear or unconfidence or anxiety, I ask myself, what's one thing I can do to delight one customer today? Well, it gets the focus off of me and off of that fear and anxiety and stress. And instead, I focus on doing something for someone else, one of my customers. This makes me feel confident and appreciative, and my feelings turn around and my mindset turns around. This builds a stronger relationship with that person, of course, but it also deepens how I feel about my whole set of customers now and the people I want to serve. So what it might look like is maybe the first customer that walks up that day, it might be as simple as giving them a compliment. Compliment them on their haircut or their purse or their cute baby, or offer to take one of their kids or their kids up to collect an egg or two from the laying hens. Or maybe it means that you just send out a brief email that morning to a customer checking in on them because they told you about a recent diagnosis they had, and you're just reaching out to say hi and check in on them. This delights them, okay? You're delighting them, but equally as important is it's making you feel more connected and impassioned about selling your products at a sustainable price. So it just becomes easier to be confident about increasing your prices to those that you need to be sustainable. I've had a lot of farmers over the years who go out of business, and they tell me that it was easier to go out of business than to try to raise their prices and deal with the backlash. And I just want to say it doesn't have to be this way. There does not ever have to be any backlash. So when you learn this process I'm talking about in this whole series, there won't be backlash about raising your prices. And you don't have to go out of business in lieu of raising your prices. Sometimes they'll tell me, well, I can't raise my prices because people won't pay me anymore. But no, that's just a thought you're having. That's not truth. That's not fact. That's a thought in your head. You could just as easily think, I have a product that's transforming lives, and I'm going to charge a price that ensures I will be here 10 and 20 years from now. So remember, the action you're going to take out of a thought that I have a product that's transforming lives and makes you feel confident is a very different action than if you think, oh, my community won't support me in the prices I need to charge. Because again, that's not a fact. It's just a thought you're thinking. And I hear a lot of farmers say that, all right? So I want you to learn through all this that you will be offering people exactly what they want and need in their lives. You're giving them this valuable product that has changed their life. And when you think thoughts like that, you're going to feel energetic, you're going to feel confident, you're going to feel inspired. And the action you take out of feeling confident, energetic, and inspired is you will be able to raise your prices to the price you need to stay in business for the long run. All right? So learn to take a good look at your thoughts. It's something I do every single day. And if you find yourself thinking, well, she's wrong, my community won't support a price increase, then that thought will not inspire the feeling you need to take the action you need to take to increase your prices. So I encourage you, look at your thoughts, practice new thoughts that support you building a profitable farm. It is that simple. You might be thinking, oh, this is too simple. I'm going to gloss over this. Please don't. It is that simple of changing your mindset to that of you are transforming lives with your farm products, and your prices need to match that. The result of this, your customers are going to love you. They're going to support you in the price you need to charge. They're going to value you because of what you're doing for them, and you will build your profitable farm. All right? So there you go, you guys. Just a quick recap of what we talked about today. First, You're going to find out what value it is you're offering your customers. Because remember, you're not selling eggs or meat or milk. You're selling the value your customer gets from you, and they will tell you what that is. You're going to ask them the questions I listed off in this episode. Then you're going to go update your website and your marketing materials to reflect the value you offer. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, you're going to work on your mindset. You're going to ask yourself, how can you serve one customer today? You're going to embrace this new mindset that helps you build a profitable farm instead of how you used to think. Okay, so that's what you're going to do today. And again, this wraps up part 2 of the Price for Profit series. You can get the free pricing spreadsheets and the whole series at 3cowmarketing.com/price for profit. And then next episode, I will be back with part 3, all about how to raise your prices without losing customers. There's a specific technique you'll want to use so that you don't lose customers when you work your prices up to where they need to be. So, as usual, thank you. I'm so appreciative of you listening to this podcast. If you have not left a review yet, I would love for you to go leave a review on iTunes. It helps iTunes know I have something that helps farmers. Okay, take care, you guys. Hope you're having an amazing summer, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. For more great resources, check out theprofitablemindset.com. See you next time.